My people, small nyash dey shake o, no be small thing o. As I dey talk to una so, Tinubu don talk say because of say he send him own people go, make dem go settle Niger, because after Tinubu give dem 7 days, Niger people talk say make Tinubu stay away from their country. Now the Niger people no hear, dem talk say dem no want that government again, say military make dem dey rule dem. Now Tinubu send their own people go after he give them 7 days wey dem no gree answer Tinubu. Dem still reject the people wey be say Tinubu send go there. Dem reject am o. Dem say dem no wan hear anything. Now after Tinubu don see say dem don chase dem comot, say dem no even wan hear anything that got to do with the current government wey dey for that position before dem come pursue am, wey the military come dey rule. Now Tinubu come see say, hey, this yeye wey dem do am, e don too much o. E be like say Niger don get people wey dey their back. Na so Tinubu now don give order o, don tell the senators make dem sign together with am, make dem for tell our own army make dem intervene. My people, how Niger wahala take affect Nigeria? Una dey see say Ghana dey make all this move? No. Una dey see say Ghana dey run up and down like this? Other countries, even if dem no like the thing wey Niger do, but no be say the African country dem go dey fight themselves. My people, no be smart, you know. As I dey talk to una so, every Nigerian citizen don dey beg Tinubu, say Oga Tinubu, small nyash dey shake o, because this one wey be say you wan go put your hand, we will never solve the problem of Boko wey be say una know say out of 100% of Boko wey dey Nigeria, 70% are from Niger, and Nigeria army no see any of them arrest o. Na so dem will talk say dem don kpai dem, before you know another 1 month again we will see say dem don kidnap like 30 students. Right now Tinubu don tell the army people say they make dem go intervene. Now people dey tell the senators make una no sign this thing o. Then they tell the Senate president, tell all those senators make dem no sign all this thing together with Tinubu o. Anything wey make una approve this letter, e don finish. Because the Niger sef, we know say na small country, but the country wey dey Niger back, na all those countries wey be say dem sef don fair pursue their government comot for position. Country like Burkina Faso, some country like Guinea, different country, my people. Russia dey their back. And all those other thoughts say anything wey make Nigeria chook mouth, anything wey make Nigeria send army, na im be say dem sef go step in. Now if dem wan step in, who dem go take learn? Na the innocent Nigeria, the poor citizen, na dem go take learn o. My people, make una go watch video where dem talk say Tinubu, make Tinubu do wetin, make Tinubu no try this one o. Make Tinubu no try this one o, because as e dey go so, Tinubu don approve am o, e don sign am o. Say make the army people, make dem go do wetin, make dem step in. Like say the person wey be say they pursue comot for that position, like say na Nigeria president. How Niger take concern us? Yes, the thing wey they offer to Niger, you go carry am, you no go dey give them again. That make you carry your army go there, say by force by fire, the military people make dem no dey rule again. People say they suffer everything wey they get, their government dey sell and they give Oyinbo country. Dem no go fit get something make dem dey suffer. Since they don talk that one, you leave them. My people, make una go you watch video where they say they drag Tinubu, say Tinubu save Nigeria or not be said to come put Nigeria for double wahala o. Hey.
Strong message, you know, that anyone who wants to carry out a military coup should expect support from those that have been successful. So I think this is the position that ECOWAS is faced with. A military intervention, as ECOWAS proposed, you know, is something that should never be taken lightly. We don't want to see African countries invading other African countries in the 21st century. It is bad news for the development of the continent. So what we want to see is much more proactive measures, you know, but we are in we are in difficult times. And decisions have to be made based on, you know, so many factors that must be considered.
Is it okay to say the ECOWAS leaders were too quick to have spoken about military action against Niger?
In international diplomacy, when you make a threat, when you issue an ultimatum, you should be ready to enforce that ultimatum. And I think any decision to issue an ultimatum must be taken very carefully. I believe that in the circumstances that we're experiencing, I don't see the need why that ultimatum was made. But on the other hand, it could be some kind of a message. But when you look at the reaction and the circumstances under which we're now facing, whereby Niger Republic has said any military intervention would be disastrous, you have a situation where other countries like Mali, Burkina Faso, Guinea, but also other countries are supporting the fact that they've invoked some kind of an Article 5 and say an attack or an invasion or any military intervention in Niger Republic would mean a declaration of war to these other member states. Essentially, they are splitting the economic community of West African states into several factions, those that are pro-coup and those that are anti-coup. This is not, what we do want. I believe that what ECOWAS should have done was to pursue strictly non-kinetic approaches, suspensions, sanctions, and then to reserve, any military intervention in some kind of, as a last card. I don't believe that, that decision to say they would, give a 7 days ultimatum was the best decisions to have been made. It's a little bit hasty, and now ECOWAS has cornered itself, in a position where it has to deliver to the promise that it made. So very challenging times, for,
and that's why I jump in again, because if you look at what's happening on the continent, especially in the West African axis, insurrection, you're talking about dealing with insurgents, and you're also talking about a weak army, you're talking about an army that has been so depleted. And do they have the wherewithal to carry out such operation in Niger in the first place?
There is no appetite for war in West Africa. It's not just about as simple as invading Niger or launching a military operation. You've got to think about what about if Niger also launches an military intervention in your country as well. If you throw bombs there, they can throw bombs here. They can throw bombs in the other ECOWAS member states. So this is not a decision that should be made very lightly. I don't think any of the ECOWAS member states, is in a position to launch a military operation at this point in time. What that would do effectively is it will destabilize the region further, and it will never be in the benefit of ECOWAS member states. It will be in the benefit of external parties, that will possibly what we call the war merchants. ECOWAS member states do not produce the kind of weapons or ammunition that they need to fight a war. They would have to buy that from somewhere else. That would mean it would impact on the economies of these countries. So generally, I think any decision to go to war, has to go through, a rigorous process.
And speaking of which now, though, we're talking about war merchants, mercenaries, specifically the Wagner Group in the equation. And this seemed to be a big test, not only for ECOWAS, but for its chairman, President Bola Tinubu.
It's a massive test. He's just been inaugurated, and he's just been, appointed as well as the chairperson of ECOWAS. He made a speech, that ECOWAS will not tolerate coups. I mean, that is normal to say. But what ECOWAS hasn't done in the past is to put preventive measures, to ensure that coups do not occur. They have the ECOWAS standby force. What I expected, was that within the first 24 hours of a coup, you can launch a standby force. At that point in time, the coupists do not have the collaboration of sister agencies. They don't have the support, or perhaps they don't have the support of the population at that very point in time, because everything is still in confusion. Once 24 hours expires, you go to a week. Situation in Niger, you have the military that looks like they are coordinating. You have a population that is, seeming to support. It's too late. Time is everything, and everything is about timing. So the chairperson, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has a huge task, in terms of, how he can manage this process. I believe that what we've seen in terms of the chiefs of defense staffs meeting It's to look at possibilities. It is not to draw a war plan, because of course that takes an enormous amount of activity. It takes an enormous amount of national intelligence estimate. Who is going to coordinate it? How are you going to introduce command and control? So he's in a very difficult position, but I think we can go through this if we use non-kinetic approaches.
And in that case, shouldn't the continent be asking why coups, perhaps in the first place, that may help?
I think that should be one of the biggest tasks that ECOWAS have, to find out, do a research. I mean, ECOWAS instituted early warning centers. Nigeria has established one. They should be able to go down to the wire and find out why do we have coup d'etats, and in specific countries. Why don't other countries that used to have coup d'etats, what have they done? Nigeria is an example. I think they are in a perfect position to give advice in terms of what other countries within ECOWAS should do, and not just ECOWAS, within the African continent. Because there is a pattern, if you've looked at the recent coups, it happens in most of the Francophone countries, and it happens in countries which are experiencing insecurity. It happens in countries where the military plays a role on regime protection rather than national security protection. And the structure of democracy is in such a way that you have leaders who are changing the constitution to either run for terms, or you have people that get to power through fraudulent elections. So there are so many factors that ECOWAS.
My people, now the video now on a new watch finish, so on a see what happen for inside the video. All right, my people, I go like to end the video for you. Make una let me know waiting on a thing for the comment section, and if una never subscribe, make una subscribe to my YouTube channel so that una no go miss any latest gist way I dey upload. And those of una will be see una never follow my Facebook page, make una follow so that una no go still miss any latest gist way I dey upload. And bye bye till I come on our next time. Bye guys, see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.